Alright, hey everybody, and welcome back to Now Showing with John
and Cam.
And today we have a special episode for you. It is October. At the end of the month is what? Halloween.
November?
Yeah, November. So today's episode we are going to do our top 5 horror gems to watch on Halloween. And what we mean by that, these are the movies that, yeah, some of the true horror fans might have heard of or might know about, but some people that aren't really big horror fans or just new to it might not have heard about, or kind of gets put on the back burner. These are movies that we recommend for the Halloween season to dig up, watch. They aren't your Freddy, Jason, the typical things that you're going to see playing on TV or that everyone knows.
Yeah, a lot of these might be lesser known movies, maybe movies that aren't very popular. Some of them are, but just something that we have seen that if you're new to horror, or even if you're a horror veteran, you may not have watched before. So if you're looking for something new this Halloween, man, I've seen all of the mainstream movies and I need some other stuff that I haven't watched yet. These are some ones we found along the way throughout the years, and even some more recent that we think you guys would like to watch this Halloween.
Alright, and I'm going to have Cam start with his number 5, and then we'll see what we come up with.
Sure. So a good bit of the ones in my list are actually more recent films. And coming in at number 5 is a movie that I actually bought. It came out back in 2014, so about 5 years ago. And I bought it at Walmart. It was a straight-to-DVD release. I just happened to be kind of like on a horror binge, just buying... That sounded kind of bad, but no. So I just happened to be buying, random horror DVDs, and a lot of times at Walmart, you'll notice, like on the first Tuesday of a month, they'll have a bunch of these straight-to-DVD horror movies you can buy, usually around $10 to $15. And I picked up this movie called Last Shift. And I didn't know anything about the movie, and a lot of times when I buy those movies at Walmart, I don't expect much from them. Usually watch them, put them in my collection, and probably never going to watch them again. But Last Shift really took me by surprise. If you've never heard of this movie, which I'm sure a lot of you have not, it's about a rookie cop, female cop, who on her first night decides to take the night watch security at a prison that is about to close down. It's its last night with its doors open. There are no prisoners inside. They've already been vacated to the new prison. And this prison, though, holds a lot of history for her because her dad used to be the town sheriff. And years prior, there was a cult that are basically based off of the Manson clan. That killed a lot of people, and her dad, the sheriff, is the person who finally captured them and brought them in. But the night they brought them into the prison, the main guy, who's like the Charlie Manson guy, and his followers, they all committed suicide and killed themselves in the prison. So when she goes to watch the prison by herself this night, only person in the prison, at first she starts hearing these sounds and just strange things, but then you find out that since this murderous cult killed themselves in the prison, their spirits are trapped in this prison as well, and they haunt her throughout the night, and it keeps getting more sadistic, more violent, more visions. And the whole time I was watching this movie, I'm like, whoa, this is a low-budget horror movie, because it'll keep you on the edge of your seat, and there's some creepy moments and creepy scenes throughout this movie. The ending is a pretty twisty, there's a twist to the end that may catch you off guard. I sort of saw it coming. I remember when me and my wife were watching it, I called it out. I said, I think this is going to happen. And I was right. So if you guys watch it, I'd be curious to know if you can predict the ending before it happens. But I tell you what, if you've never saw this movie and you're looking for something to watch, check it out. Good news is, if you guys are subscribers to the horror movie site and app Shudder, which is basically a all horror streaming service, they are streaming that movie right now. So if you have Shudder, you can type in Last Shift in the search bar and you can watch it. Otherwise, it sells for about $12 on Blu-ray and DVD right now on Amazon. So if you purchase movies off Amazon, you're looking to get something shipped in quick on your Amazon Prime account to watch in time for Halloween, check out Last Shift. It's a good one.
I'm gonna have to say I have not seen that one. I'm gonna have to check it out. So I was throwing two movies around for my number five. I'm gonna throw both of them out. One is an honorable mention, and that is 13 Ghosts. But the one that I did choose for number five is 1992's Dead Alive, also known as Brain Dead. A lot of you know the director, Peter Jackson. He did a little movie, well, a trilogy called Lord of the Rings. Kind of got a little famous from that. This is
that the one with the Wookiee?
Yeah, that's
George
the one with
Binks
the Wookiee. Yeah, that exactly.
Okay.
It's that one.
I know my stuff.
But this is his second movie. And by all means, this is not a great movie. In the sense of like the story and some of the acting. What this movie is one hell of a fun time from the beginning to the end because it is so over the top. This falls in your horror comedy. If you can get past some of the acting, because it's pretty bad, it has some amazing over the top gory scenes, some real cheesy one-liners. I kick ass for the Lord. It used to have the record for the most bloodiest scene in a single movie. I do believe that has been broken. But like I said, it's a movie about this what is it? It's a mutated rat, or it's like that ends up biting this lady, and she starts to kind of turn into a zombie.
It's the main character's mother.
Yeah, it's the main character's mother. The main character falls in love with this girl. It's the main character and his girlfriend that are kind of where the bad acting come from.
Oh man.
But basically, she turns into a zombie, and everyone else in the town slowly starts to turn into zombies, and it just gets extremely over the top with little baby zombie, and like it really does. But like I said, I love it. I just think it's just a fun movie that you can't take it serious. You have to watch it knowing that it's more for the comedic and just the holy shit over the top.
Yeah.
They really just do that.
Yeah.
Like not to ruin too much, but let's just say there's a scene with a lawnmower that he uses it as a weapon, and like I said, it's a fun movie. If you're looking for something different that's not like serious and you just want a fun little like something to watch, I recommend Dead Alive.
Yeah, it's not Troll 2 bad acting, but the acting is terrible. Yeah. I would have liked to put this movie on my list, but there's just not enough gore in that movie. There's just not enough blood.
No, it only...
Yeah, right. Alright, so my number 4 is a sort of a slow burn horror movie, and it's even on the terms of like drama thriller as well. But if you give it a chance and you get past some of the slow burn, it'll actually surprise you. And it's once again sort of a recent film. It actually came out in 2011. And this is a movie that, once again, just happened to purchase.
Alpha Dog?
Got it. It's a movie that he just happened to purchase, not thinking much of it, but I was pretty captivated by it. And this movie is called The Caller. And in the film, this movie may sound a little crazy. It's a little hard to explain at times. But there's a woman just got out of a abusive relationship, marriage. She moves into an older style apartment building. She ends up getting a phone call one night from this old woman who she begins to talk to. She keeps calling her back. And eventually this old woman claims to be from the past. She claims to be from, it's either 20 or 30 years ago, something along those lines. Let's just say 20 years ago. And the old woman claims that she lived in the same apartment that the woman is living in now, our main character. And so at first, the main character just thinks this is this crazy old lady, and she's just talking to her for fun. But the old lady's like, here, let me prove it to you. I'll write something on the wall back then, and it should show up in your time. So she does it. She starts ripping up wallpaper, and oh my God, it's there, right? So now she believes it. They start this friendly relationship. But then, they start talking about abusive relationships, and the older woman back then says she's sort of in one as well. So the main character sort of makes a joke like, you should get rid of him, Well, the old woman takes it serious, and she kills her husband, okay? And disposes of his body in the apartment. And then, of course, you know, the main character doesn't believe she did this, but then when she discovers his remains, she knows that she did this. So she cuts ties with this old woman. Well, this drives this old woman nuts because she just killed her own husband, and now this woman wants nothing to do with her. So she begins to terrorize her. And how does she do that? She begins altering things in the past that could affect the main character's life now, taking away people she cares about. I don't want to give away too much, but let me tell you there are some very creepy scenes, and without giving away too much, the old woman, of course, may still be alive now. So maybe she'll even try to find her today. And it leads to a very creepy, very nerve-wracking ending. Like I said, it's a slow burn because there are other developments in this, like the abusive relationship. There's some backstory and story to get through there. And she also, in the movie, the main character meets a new guy who's actually played by actor Stephen Moyer, who was Bill Compton in True Blood. She meets him, and they develop a relationship. So there's some slow burn here. But I'm telling you, it's worth the watch. It's a movie that not a lot of people know about. It doesn't get a good rap on IMDb, but it is a very creepy, effective movie. So if you're watching for a good thrill, wanting to watch a good thriller this Halloween, check out The Caller. Right now, it's not streaming as far as I know on Netflix or anything like that. But you can rent it on Amazon for as low as $2.99, and you can also purchase it on Amazon for around $12. So it's a cheap movie to get a hold of.
Once again, I haven't seen that one. I'm going to have to put that on my list.
There you go.
Alright, so my number 4 came out in 1997. This is a movie that some of you might have heard of. Actually, probably a lot of you have. But it's kind of one that kind of gets put on the back burner once again. And not a lot of people really think about it. It does have a bit of a following. It's one that I don't understand why it's not a little more popular. I always loved it. At least the first one. It does have some sequels and it does get a little crazy. My number 4 is Wishmaster. So basically the premise to this movie is, so you have God, he creates angels and he creates demons, and then there's also these things called jinns. They're basically genies that kind of like, in the void. They kind of live in the void between both. But if you would happen to find one, they will grant you 3 wishes. So basically, one of the jinns gets trapped in this in a big ruby that's in a statue that happens to break, and oh my God, someone finds it and they find the genie or the jinn and start asking wishes. But of course, the wishes don't go exactly how you want, and the jinn kind of has a different plan that he is trying to play out. Something happens after all 3 wishes, so that's kind of what his final plan, like that's his goal, is to get all 3 wishes so he can have something happen. It's one of those, the graphics back when this came out, the effects were very effective. The acting isn't like amazing, but it's not really bad. All in all, like I would give this a solid 7.5. Like it's a good fun watch once again.
Fun, for sure.
And like I said, I don't understand, like it's kind of one of those that kind of gets shadowed by all your big name horror villains. But it's definitely worth looking for it and giving it a shot because it is a fun watch.
Yeah, and it spawns a couple of sequels as well.
Yeah. Like I said, the first 2 are amazing. It's been a while since I've seen like the third one. I think there's actually 4 or 5. I can't remember. But kind of after the second one, it really it gets like the first 2 kind of follow the first main story, and then it kind of just branches off, and unfortunately, it doesn't really.
And the first one has good cameos too, Robert Englund.
Robert Englund.
So definitely a great pick. Actually, I'm surprised I didn't think of that. Wishmaster that's definitely a great watch for sure. Okay, so my number 3 is a very recent film. I just watched it a few months ago. It's actually a 2018 release. My number 3 is called The Clove Hitch Killer. This movie, I saw a preview for it on YouTube one day, and I instantly wanted to watch it. I went and bought it at FYE is where I found it on DVD. I'm not sure if they have a Blu-ray release for it. I'm sure they do, but I got it on DVD. And this movie, fantastic. Once again, like my last film, it is a slow burn. There's not a ton of action that goes on, but it will keep you invested the whole way through, and it leads to a really powerful ending. This story is loosely based off of the BTK killer. The BTK killer, bind, torture, kill, for those of you who aren't familiar, was a serial killer that would torture people, basically binding them with ropes, things like that. So in this film, there is a suburban family father. He's a churchgoer, Boy Scout leader, just like the BTK killer was. And he is your just typical family man. Everyone in the neighborhood loves him. You have the mother, just your great, typical housewife, cooks, cleans, just a great family. You have the son, who's a Boy Scout, and he's just teenager, so he's going through his awkward years. And basically, people have been getting killed throughout the town, at least in the past years they were. And they named this serial killer the Clove Hitch Killer, who was never caught. And different events start to happen over a period of time that starts to make the son believe that maybe his own father might be the Clove Hitch Killer. He ends up meeting this girl who's the only one he kind of lets in on what he believes, and she's obsessed with the Clove Hitch Killer for her own reasons. And so together they kind of work together, kind of like the Goonies here, to put together this mission to figure out if his dad is the Clove Hitch Killer. And of course they don't want to get caught or let him know that. But it's not like funny in any way. This is a very serious movie, and like I said, it is a slow build up. But the intensity, especially at times when they're like spying on the dad and trying to look into his things, and he could walk into the room at any second. And then of course the mystery, which will keep you guessing all the way through if he's the killer or not. And then the big ending, whether he is or not, there is definitely an ending worth seeing. So if you've never seen the Clove Hitch Killer, which I'm guessing a lot of you have not because it is a new movie, definitely check it out. As far as I know, it's not streaming on anything right now, but you can buy it on Amazon on DVD for about $12 right now, so it's not going to break the bank. I definitely suggest, if you like serial killer movies, you're looking for something to watch this Halloween, check out the Clove Hitch Killer. And by the way, the dad in the movie is played by actor Dylan McDermott, from a lot of different things. In the horror realm, he's most notably known from the first season of American Horror Story.
Yeah, that one, once again, most of the ones that he's saying, I have not seen, but that one I have heard of, and it is on my watch list to watch. So we are on number 3. And number 3, I hold a special place in my heart. And that is 1972's Night of the Lepus.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
So, Night of the Lepus, if you don't know what this one is about, let me just give you this. Giant mutant rabbits terrorize the Southwest. This is, if you're looking for just super cheesy, over-the-top, gory movie about giant mutant rabbits, this is your movie. It does star a horror legend, a scream queen, Janet Leigh. You might know her from Psycho. She does star in this movie.
Jamie Lee Curtis's mother.
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis's mother. So basically, this movie, there's a town in the Southwest, Arizona, I do believe, that they're having a problem with rabbits. So scientists come and they start doing some basically hormone and mutants and mutant genes and that kind of thing, testing the rabbits to try to fix the problem. Well, wouldn't you know, one of the rabbits escape, and they basically turn into werewolf-size killer rabbits. And you get some really good gory scenes. You get some really good over-the-top, just cheesy. And all in all, like I hold a really special place. This is kind of one of those Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, but it's not as far-fetched as that. But it is a very entertaining movie to watch. I recommend it to everyone. This is one of my all-time favorite unsung hero type movies, and that is Night of the Lepus.
Yeah, that movie's crazy. And for those of you who are collect Scream Factory,
it is a very sick
Blu-rays. Scream Factory, they remaster old horror films and even some new ones too, and they up the picture quality tremendously. They pack their Blu-rays with tons of special features, and maybe the best quality is the artwork on the cover is phenomenal that they do. It's a great collector's item to get, and Night of the Lepus was released from Scream Factory. So if you're looking to watch that this Halloween, pick it up on Scream Factory because it's definitely worth the price for sure. All right, so my number 2 is also sort of a recent film. It comes from 2016.
If you're starting to catch on to the theme, he's doing all the recent ones, and I'm doing
the
all
old
the
schooler right here. Yeah, the throwback, the vintage. Once again, bought this movie straight to DVD release or Blu-ray release, whatever I have it on. Didn't think anything of it, and sometimes that's when you get caught off guard with these movies. So my number 2 pick is actually a holiday-themed horror movie called Better Watch Out. And it's a Christmas-themed movie, but man, there's not too much merry about this movie. So Better Watch Out, honestly, if I had to rank horror movies that I saw over the last 3-4 years, top 10, it's going to be in it, because this is a fun ride from start to finish. I'm telling you, it will surprise you.
This isn't a slow burn like your past
This
three?
is not a slow burner. This one has a huge game-changing twist that happens pretty early in the film, and it will blow you away. You will never see it coming, and from the rest of the movie, you're just sitting there like, man, they got me right off the bat. Where's this going? In the film, there's this boy, young teenager. His parents still won't let him stay home alone, so he's getting babysat by this girl who's a few years older than him in high school that he has a major crush on. She comes over to babysit. His friend sneaks over to kind of pull a prank. And of course the prank, kind of goes wrong, not in a serious way. But then next thing you know, they start hearing all of these noises outside, to lead you to believe there may be an intruder and someone's trying to break into the house. Will they survive? Will they not? But then this movie just hits you out of nowhere, and you get this massive plot twist that I'm telling you, you won't guess it. You will not. And I'm usually consider myself really smart when it comes to twists and what's about to happen, what's going to happen. With horror movies, because I've watched so much, and I'm sure John as well, we kind of pick up on things like, okay, I've seen this a dozen times.
Yeah.
I didn't see this coming. And from the moment it happens, the rest of the movie gets completely turned upside down from where you thought it was going to go. And you will be glued to the screen to see where it turns out. I'm telling you, this movie is fun. It's not scary. You're not going to be scared at all watching this movie. But it is a treat. And even though it's Christmas themed, it's a great Halloween watch. I'm telling you guys, just for the twist alone and where this movie goes, like the way it starts out, you really think this is going to be like a PG-13-esque movie. No, this movie starts hitting a hard R. It's awesome. So if you get a chance, check out Better Watch Out. Good news, it is on Shudder. So it's on Shudder streaming service. You can watch it if you subscribe to Shudder. Otherwise, you can purchase it on Amazon, or I'm sure find it in stores. But definitely, if you're looking for a great treat this Halloween, I'm telling you, watch Better Watch Out. Better watch that movie.
All right, so in keeping in the theme, we're going to go with another throwback, 1988. Yes,
I was born.
I was only 2 at that point, but yeah. So 1988, a little movie called Pumpkinhead was released. So my number 2 is Pumpkinhead, and yes, it is a little bit more of a popular movie in the horror community,
cult horror sense, yeah.
But it's not one that is kind of like real big all over.
If you're new to horror or even young, I would think there's a lot of younger generation that are into horror that probably never heard of Pumpkinhead. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that is true. But this is a movie that my dad kind of told me about, and he's like, you need to watch this, and I fell in love with it. Like, the character of Pumpkinhead, if you've never seen him, He is a giant, mutated. He's not what you're thinking, like a jack-o'-lantern or anything like that. He's a big, huge monster that basically, if something terrible happens to you or you want to seek revenge, you go see this gypsy, witch, voodoo type lady, and she can conjure up Pumpkinhead to do your bidding to an extent. Not so much do your bidding, because once he's released, there's really no putting him back or taking it back. Like, oh shit, I made a mistake. So the premise is the main character, well, not really the main character, the father in this movie, when he was a little kid, he witnesses someone basically summon Pumpkinhead to get revenge. So you fast forward, he's now a father, and these 5 kids,
like teenagers.
They're teenagers. One's on probation. They're kind of your like rebels, punk type. They stop and they start riding their dirt bikes in the hills. The one guy jumps off. He's been drinking. He hits a ramp and he lands on the kids, on the main character's son, and he freaks out. He's like, I've been drinking. I'm on probation. I can't be here. He starts arguing with the other people he's with because they want to help the kid. He says, no, screw this. I'm not going to jail for this. And they leave. Spoiler, the kid dies. The father, wanting to get revenge, remembers, hey, you want to get revenge? Pumpkinhead's your dude. So, of course, he goes, gets Pumpkinhead, and then from there, it's just gore, craziness. This is honestly probably top 20 category for me of all time, just for like the creativity. And honestly, like in today's movies, if you had a big giant creature like this, unfortunately he's probably going to be CGI and it's going to look horrible. This was back in 1988. You didn't have practical CGI. Effects, this was practical effects. And when you, like, I recommend watching this. If you watch it, you'll see why practical effects are hands down 10 times better than CGI. You cannot tell that this thing is fake. It will creep you out to your core. Yeah. They do such a good job with the design, the effects, the makeup, everything. So yeah, definitely check out Pumpkinhead.
And Lance Henriksen plays the father. Yeah. And he's in so many different horror movies. He's a great actor. And I was even always a fan of the sequels too. Yeah. The second one, the third one was a newer like sci-fi original movie. But the second one, when I was a kid, I actually
Pumpkinhead 1 and 2 were definitely.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I actually liked the second one better. But then when I got older, I realized the first one is the better movie, and I appreciate the first one better. But yeah, even the sequels are great. Pumpkinhead, awesome choice. Like, definitely watch it if you get the opportunity to watch it. Pumpkinhead is phenomenal. All right, so that takes us down to number one. All right, so for number one, my number one is not a recent movie, so I'm gonna go retro here with number one.
And my number one is actually more recent. So how
are we doing this? How are we doing this here? Because like we've said in previous videos, we don't look at each other's lists. So, so my number one is a film from 1989. And this is certainly not a film without controversy. Now, if you are a fan of horror, and you've been watching for a long time, there's a good chance you've at least heard of this movie. But if you're new to horror, there's a good chance... No, God, no.
By all means, do not. Yeah. We do not recommend that.
We're going to edit that out of this. So, my number one is Clown House. So, let's talk about Clown House, okay? I was introduced to this movie at a very young age. It scared the shit out of me when I was a kid, and I loved it for that. And I watched it over and over and over. When my brother got, old enough to start watching horror movies, he didn't watch them quite as early as I did. He watched it over and over. We used to reenact scenes from this movie in our house. We would put on stuff on our face, dressing up like the clowns, like we were insane kids. But this movie is, in my opinion, maybe the creepiest clown horror film ever made. Possibly. I mean, it, of course, is I hold so deep in my heart, and Pennywise, it's hard to top. But I'm telling you, the clowns in this movie are phenomenal. So the premise of this movie is there are three brothers. An oldest brother, Randy, who's actually played by Sam Rockwell, who this was his debut film. Middle brother, Jeffrey, and the youngest brother, Casey. All three of them are left home alone one night. Parents are out of town. The youngest brother, Casey, is absolutely terrified of clowns. It's his biggest fear. He has nightmares of them. So, of course, the oldest brother, Randy, who is the biggest jerk you'll ever meet, but he is hilarious, takes his brothers to the circus. Right? That's where you're going to take your brother who's terrified of clowns. Of course, the youngest brother is so terrified at the circus, he ends up bailing, so they got to leave. Well, on the same night, go figure, 3 psychopaths escape from the local mental facility, right? This is the great 80s setup that you would see, right? And they end up, without trying to get too spoiler heavy, they end up killing the 3 performers who performed as clowns in the circus, right? They jump them later that night in their tent, kill them, and then they put on all of their clown makeup with making a few touches to it. And now these 3 psychopaths are roaming the town. So now you have these 3 brothers that are at home at night. They're telling each other scary stories. They're making popcorn. And guess what? The 3 psychopaths dressed as clowns stumble into their country home and decide they're going to terrorize and try to kill these 3 brothers. And of course, the youngest one is terrified. And I tell you what, this movie, if you are scared of clowns, man, this movie will scare the shit out of you. This is a hidden horror gem, to say the least. The only downfall of this movie is I wish it was a little longer than it is, and the ending is very abrupt. But I tell you what, the chase scenes with the brothers and the clowns, the way the clowns creep around the house, the facial expressions, it is hard to find a movie that is creepier than this when it's dealing with clowns, I'm telling you. But I did say there's controversy with this movie, right? There's a reason why a lot of you may not have heard of this movie, especially younger folks. And there's a reason why you're not going to see this movie really on shelves anywhere. And I'm not going to get into the grisly details here. If you want to know the details, you can certainly look it up. The director of this movie, who is actually an established director, or became established director by the name of Victor Salva, who directed this movie, there was a horrible, horrible incident that happened on the set of this film. Something terrible that he did that landed him some prison time, and certainly should have discounted him from ever making films again. But when he was released, the very first movie he made, they let him become a director again, and of course the first movie he made was a Disney film. You can't make this. You can't make this shit up. He got out of prison and literally made a film for Disney called Powder, which was a guy who had like powder skin that had electric powers.
Who played him?
I forget.
Norman Reed, not Norman.
No.
Not Norman Reedus. It was the other one, because Norman. Oh, no, I always get him mixed up. He was in Boondock Saints, but regardless, if you know, put it in the comment.
Yeah. So he made Powder, but then he became really famous because he's also the director of Jeepers Creepers and Jeepers Creepers 2, and that abysmal piece of shit they call Jeepers Creepers 3.
Hopefully 4 is coming out. I mean, just kidding.
So yeah, there's a big controversy. So this film, although it was distributed on VHS for many years, and then of course on DVD, which is what I have it on, it became, once the controversy started coming back up again of what happened back when it was happening, the youngest actor that was involved in the incident, he kind of protested the film, him and his mother, that they wanted it pulled, so the distribution companies pulled it. So for the longest time, it was nearly impossible to find. If you didn't get it on DVD, like back at the time I did, you were going to pay upwards of $200 to $300 on Amazon just to buy it from secondhand distributors. Good news for everyone, though. They actually have re-released the film on DVD, so you can get it. Still a little pricey, but you can get it on Amazon right now for $30. Also, last time I checked on YouTube, somebody did have it posted to where you could watch the whole film. You'd have to watch it in increments, though.
Yeah.
But I believe it's still on there, so if you want to see it for free, I believe. But I'm telling you what, if you want to watch a scary killer clown movie, Clown House is amazing. Some of the parts and acting's a little outdated, but I'm telling you, you're going to love this movie, and you're going to thank me for watching it. So my number 1 is Clown House.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that one. It's as far as like clown movies go, there's really,
I'm telling you, yeah.
Alright, so my number one is a true Halloween movie. It also made made one of the other lists, so check out the other videos to see which one. But number one is Trick or Treat, I should say. It's not Trick or Treat, it's Trick or Treat. 2007, so like I said, a little bit more recent, but a little bit older compared to some of my other ones. It is newer. And like I said, it is a true Halloween movie. There's one of the things is, if you don't follow the rules tonight, you won't live to see tomorrow. And that plays a big thing in the movie. So it's 5 interwoven stories that are all based on that all take place on Halloween night. So you have werewolves, you have vampires, you have a serial killer father, and of course you have a hermit living by himself that gets greeted by one of my all-time favorite horror villains, and that is Sam. And I've went over this a little bit more. I think he is one of the greatest characters ever designed. And after doing the one video, I was thinking about why I like him so much. It's because one of my all-time favorite types of movies are movies where where a kid is like the villain, because I feel that takes the creepiness and the horror to a whole new level. And Sam, prior to taking the mask off, he just reminds me of a toddler or a little kid in like a Halloween costume, but he terrorizes this guy, and he kind of makes little cameos throughout the entire movie. So it's not like he's just one part. He's kind of the mascot for the entire movie, kind of the reason they all intertwine and that sort of thing. But it all takes place in a single town, but each part of the anthology is a standalone story, but they all, there's a part, the way they shoot the movie, each characters, they kind of cross paths, and just all around a great movie. It gives you that true 70s 80s horror vibe. And when this came out, it was at a time when I was like, can I get a good traditional horror movie that's not solely on jump scares, isn't CGI? And this movie doesn't really rely on CGI. It's still a lot of practical effects, has a lot of cameos, and I wouldn't say huge name actor and actresses. Some of them are a little bit bigger than others. You will definitely recognize a lot of the people in the movie. But yeah, my number one, just because it is a true 100% Halloween movie. It takes place on Halloween. It's about the traditions of Halloween. It is a Halloween movie. So if you want to watch a Halloween movie on Halloween, there's, other than your traditional Halloween, this is your movie.
Awesome. Yeah. So guys, I mean, that was our top 5 hidden horror gems to watch this Halloween. I hope you guys enjoyed the list, and let us know if you've seen any of the movies on our list, if you're a fan of it. If you haven't, let us know which ones you plan to watch. And hey, if you have any hidden horror gems that you know about that you want to let us know, or that everyone else,
think that we have seen, you're only seeing
you're just seeing part of the
fourth
room.
of
There's
the room.
a lot in
but
here.
If you want to try to stump us,
try to stump us, or for our other viewers that are going to be looking through the comments, let them know as well, because we're all one big community here.
And we want to grow this, and we want this to be for you. We want to hear from you.
Yeah, and we want you to be part of it as well. So definitely, please leave comments. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. Please leave a subscribe. That would mean the world to us. And we're certainly going to be kicking out the content as often as possible. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in to Now Showing with
John
and Cam. We'll see you next time.